Hello, my friend, and welcome back. Today, I want to talk about priorities. And I kind of feel like my videos lately have been very much, I feel very grounded in these times and what people are actually going through. I feel like it is so important for us to really, yesterday I talked about embodying spirituality through every moment of our day. And I think that that is so important. I think that we not only need to learn these principles, but we need to bring them throughout our day. And I think that setting priorities and having clear priorities and prioritization of what truly matters is paramount during these times. I talked yesterday about how my job serves me in many different ways, and one of the ways is for me to be in a routine that kind of forced me to put these videos and, my work, not my job, first. And that has been so clearing for me. It has given me great clarity on giving me perspective about what truly matters. Because at the end of the day, when you are zooming out, you zoom out beyond yourself, beyond your circle, beyond your town, beyond your country, beyond the world even, beyond planet Earth, and you zoom out to all there is. And then you reflect upon your part on that and your part in the evolution of consciousness, because I think that the earth is going through a great time of change and evolution, but I think it's probably consciousness as a whole. If we're all one, can one part of consciousness evolve without the other parts evolving? I don't think so. I think that everything is evolving. Every being you could imagine, every spirit you could imagine, everything, all there is evolving. And when you take that zoomed out perspective and you apply it to your priorities, and if you feel as though that zoomed out perspective, that all there is perspective is the most important thing, and then you look at your part during all that, because you may be like, well, it's a minuscule part when you zoom out that far. It is, and it's not at the same time. You are playing such an important role, because I made this analogy before and it keeps coming up for me, that consciousness as a whole is a mirror. And we are, and everything is that little speck of sand, or that little fractal piece of the mirror. So if we are all each a piece of that fractalized mirror, if you were to take out a little chunk of that mirror, one fractalized piece, that mirror would no longer be whole. It could be something maybe it could work around, or it's not that noticeable, but it would not be whole. It would not be that whole mirror without that little shard, that little fractalized piece. So in theory, without our part, consciousness is not whole. Without us, consciousness is not whole, because we are a part of the divine consciousness. We are all cut from that same cloth. So when our little fiber part is not doing its part, or removing itself from that part, even though you can't actually remove yourself, but when you are not prioritizing your soul's purpose here, you're kind of removing yourself, and consciousness is not whole. That's why we are playing such a big part here. It may feel small. It may feel big and small at the same time. It's big as we're going through it and we're wrapped up into it, but it's small when you have that zoomed out perspective. However, so going back to priorities and prioritizing, when you look at other aspects in your life, let's take my job for example. I work in banquets, catering events. You know, when I compare what I'm doing at my job and the spiritual work that I'm doing, in my opinion, there is no comparison. You know, I think that my job brings a lot of value. I make a lot of people happy. We throw amazing, beautiful events, weddings, parties, everything. And I'm not trying to negate that, and I'm not trying to negate that light, that happiness, that joy, that gathering of bringing people together for a special occasion is definitely, definitely very valuable. However, when I compare it to this work, I feel as though my personal work on my spirituality, as well as my sharing through these videos and through my social media, that is how I am helping consciousness to evolve. This is my part right now in helping consciousness evolve, helping humanity evolve, helping the entire earth raise its vibration. And that is my priority. There is no other work that is more important than that. What could be more important than helping humanity to evolve, to help consciousness evolve? I'll wait. What is more important than that? And the reason why I say what is more important than that is because when we're raising our consciousness and we're raising our vibration and we're evolving, that trickles down to every aspect of your society, because you may start to slice and dice things like, okay, well, you're helping consciousness evolve. You know, what about the climate crisis? Helping consciousness evolve helps the climate crisis. It helps our mind. It helps us. So part of evolution is the connectedness. Connectedness to nature, connectedness to each other, to ourselves, to our hearts. So when we start to feel that connection, which is healing in itself, but when we're simultaneously doing our own healing, and then we're reinforcing that connection, then we no longer want to be service of self, and it's just me, and I'm gonna drive the car I want to, and I'm gonna do what I want. We start to feel like, okay, I'm a part of something here. Why don't I make that extra effort to recycle? Why don't I start to treat the earth a little more kindly? Why don't I treat each other a little more kindly? And since we're all connected, it's kind of like that ladder toy. You know that ladder toy? It's like a wood blocks, and as you turn the blocks, it trickles down, and you know, but it's all connected, and you're not adding more blocks. I have no idea how it works. It's like ribbon that ties them together, and as you turn these blocks, it trickles down. Well, that is what your inner work is doing. That is what raising your vibration is doing. That is what reinforcing this connection is doing. And however your spiritual work looks to you, that is what you are doing. You're turning that block and you're trickling it down into all the other sliced and diced aspects of life, of earth, of humanity. You know, placing judgment, we can say that there are a lot of awful things that go on in the world. I believe that raising our vibration and raising the collective consciousness and helping in the awakening of humanity will help every single one of those things with that trickle down motion. You know, oh my God, we got interrupted. I'm sorry. So that trickle down motion is what I believe, and I believe at the top of that is evolution. At the top of that is awakening and humanity going through its spiritual awakening, and for us remembering who we are and us remembering our connectedness and that there is no separation, that we are all one. That is what is going to heal the earth. That is what is going to heal humanity, in my opinion. So, to prioritize your part in that is so important, because there is nothing else. Nothing else is as important. And I think it's important for us to individually see what our part is, and our part can change. So, is your part in this? It's for all of us, it's going within, it's doing the inner work, it's increasing our own spirituality and our own connectedness. And then for some people, that is their only part. And that is wonderful, because just by doing the inner work on yourself, you are raising the collective vibration. You are advancing humanity, because you are releasing light. And that light is the tide that is going to raise all ships. So don't feel like, I don't feel called to do something public. I don't feel called to have a spiritual based business, but I'm a spiritual person. What is my part? Your part is doing is doing the inner work, is raising your vibration. All of that is the work, and that needs to become your priority. Whatever you feel like your part is in raising the collective consciousness, that is your priority right now. And let's not get wrapped up in what society is telling us to do, what your mind is telling you to do, what your beliefs, if you have not worked on your belief system and you are working from the old earth belief system, you can't get wrapped up in what that old belief system is telling you to do. And it's so easy to do. It's so easy to forget and to go back. But we just need to be aware and to be moving forward. And to be moving forward in an aligned way, in a way that is going to help us evolve. So we need to take those priorities, and because there is time and room for everything, and if you feel like you need to cut something or something needs to go, it is not your spiritual practices. It is not your spiritual learning. It is not your spirituality in any way, shape, or form. That has to stay number one. Okay? And then prioritizing that and making that number one, then look at where all the other things in your life fall. Family, job, friends, whatever that may be. But keep that priority. Keep your priorities clear. And you can keep them clear by reevaluating them. And I'll give you an example. So I do these videos daily. However, sometimes, up until today, on the weekends, I was doing these videos a little later in the day. I was shooting them later. I went to sleep, let's relax, it's the weekend, and I was doing them later, and that was fine. But however, last weekend, I forget, it was either Saturday or Sunday, I got tied up in everything else, and I didn't do the video. And I wasn't disappointed in myself, and I thought that was fine, and I'm, it's okay for that to happen sometimes, but this is my highest joy right now. I love making these videos. So when I went that day without making that video, I was missing a part of that joy, and then, therefore missing that day of raising my vibration, missing that day of letting the light in through these videos. And I didn't like that. So I made the decision from then on. I was like, no, videos need to happen in the morning before I do anything else, because it is a priority. Because for me, this is number one priority. My priority is right now sharing through these videos and working on my spirituality, doing the inner work on myself, doing the self-care to raise my vibration and to keep me functioning at an optimal level so I can get the downloads to share through these videos. That is my priority, and I no longer am going to put my leisure time before my priority. So that is my example, and that was the inspiration for this video, you know, because it's Saturday and I have a ton of things I would like to do, and I'm going to do all of those things, but I'm going to do this first because this is my calling, this is my priority, and I'm going to show that it is my priority by doing it first. This comes before everything else. This is number one. And I just wanted to share that. That's a perspective that I'm coming from, you know. These messages, these videos, like I always say, is just as much for me as it is for you. And if you're seeing this video, I hope that this is hitting home a little bit for you. And I hope that this gives you that permission to make your spirituality and your work, not your job, your work here, your soul's work, a priority. Because I think that there is, maybe it can feel kind of selfish for you, maybe you feel like there are other things more important, but here is your big flashing sign that there is nothing else that is more important than your spiritual work. Nothing. And this is your permission from the divine to put it at number one on your list. Always. Every day. Every day it's number one. Every day. And don't ever feel guilt. Okay? And this, in your spirituality, you know everything that it encompasses. It encompasses your meditation, your breath work, whatever rituals you have. But it also encompasses, oh my goodness, I can't say it. Encompasses your self-care, your alone time, whatever it takes for you to be functioning at your spiritual best, whatever that is, that moves up the list to number one. And you will find that as you start to prioritize this, everything else will start to fall in place because you have the time and energy to do everything that you want and need in life, always. It's our affirmation, right? So I want to thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Anne, and I hope that this video brought you some value, and I hope to see you soon, my friend.